This is TransAfricaRadio.
Girls Gone Wild is the name of the show, and this evening, I was about to say afternoon because I'm so used to working in the afternoon that when I see daylight, when I see it dark outside, I should be at home. I should be at home, playing with my Jack Russell, things like that. But I'm in for Tandem 20 on this Sunday evening. You see?
Totally mind shift.
You see? A proper mind shift. And today, two very beautiful young women are in the studio on Girls Gone Wild, getting wild in this hour. Amange Sinxoto. Hey there. I am doing beautiful, ladies. And of course, Zingiso Socikwa. Socikwa. Socikwa is the surname. Lots of clicks going on this afternoon. So, ladies, you are the ladies behind Blackboard Africa.
Yeah. And
on the website, you say it basically gives the African youth a platform to freely speak about the past, present, and future.
Yes.
So, why is it that you actually started Blackboard Africa?
I think we just recognize that, Africa has the largest youth population in the world, and there was nothing that was representing them or just speaking to them in general. So Blackboard is basically that safe place where, the African youth can unravel and just be true and be raw and be honest and just talk.
Yeah, and there wasn't a platform that was talking to us. Even if you go online, there is nothing. It's like above us, or like we just don't have a voice, or like, that cool place where you can go to and find everything, movies or music, but like African content as well, and also hear what other African people, other African youth are saying as well. So we're like, let's just start it.
And how long has it been up and running now?
About a year. We're celebrating.
And so far on this year?
It's been amazing. Things have been working. We've been hosting a couple of talks.
Wow.
A couple of we restructured our whole Blackboard system, the way it works. Everything is picking up. It's been amazing. But we can tell you about our talks.
Yeah.
And about our pillars, and basically break down everything. We have talks that we host. It's Big Sister, Little Sister. And then basically the series this year was the things I wish my mom had told me.
Wow, yes. The things that I wish my mom had told me. Isn't that quite a bit?
It is. It's a lot to unpack, but I mean, if we're working towards a place where, we can talk about this stuff and it's not a big deal. We have to start somewhere, and it's a lot to unpack and it's a lot to go through. But if we start now, I think it can only get better from here.
Definitely.
And it's conversations that we need to have as well. Yeah. So it's a must.
Big Little Sister. There's a 16-year-old and a 22-year-old. Is that where one of those talks came about? Because you family, right?
Yeah.
So, family, black family.
Yeah, we do.
It's more like you, my sister, in terms of that. So, was that maybe the inspiration? Were you maybe the inspiration behind one of your talks?
I wouldn't say that we were the inspiration. I just think learning from a sisterhood model was kind of the way we wanted to approach it. Because sometimes talking to like much older people is really daunting, and it's intimidating. So at least if it's like a big sister, I mean, even older than Zingiso. Zingiso's 22, but some of the older sisters that we've had have been like in their early 30s and like their late 20s, have an older voice, but is still one that's accessible to us. So yeah.
And I think the age group as well, because my aunt is quite young as well, so she's kind of like my big sister, and we talk about everything. So it's kind of like, I wish other young black females also had a big sister and also had this platform as well to learn from their older sisters. So that was kind of where it also came from.
And when you say African youth, there's this whole debate. What's African? Who's African? Are you really mainly saying black African youth or just African youth as a whole?
It's Well, we're definitely talking to the black child. You know, it's the African child.
Yeah.
We've it's we said African because we don't want to
South African.
Yeah, we didn't want to limit it to biographies, poetries, plays, all that kind of stuff. And then also African history. So that's what we want to do. We haven't started them yet, but that's really, really what we want to do and get the youth learning about African history, because it's not being taught in our schools. It's not being taught in the syllabus. So we need to get involved. Because, you know, if you look at other cultures like Islam, you know, they go on Saturday and they go and they learn about their prayers and their this, you know what I mean? They get educated about their culture. And I don't know, I just felt like we didn't have that. And it's time to
even at school,
it's time to stop blaming the government and the school systems and all these other platforms for not teaching us. Like, we need to take that into our own accountability, I guess, take responsibility for our own education.
So you got 24 hours in a day.
Yes.
8 of them at school per se.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the rest of us?
Exactly.
Even on weekends. So you're on social media, you could be reading something constructive or like learning something about the African history that they're not teaching us in high school.
Yeah.
And we're learning about Nazi history, the Cold War, but
not African.
No.
Yeah. And then the last thing would just be then community engage. And we started doing that because there was this thing called Yaya Day. And it was a whole bunch of people just speaking about what they do. And we came and we spoke at a girls' orphanage, and it was so beautiful. So we really want to get more involved in the community and help uplift, you know, pre-disadvantaged communities, but not in a way that's like patronizing, like, hey, we've come to save you. It's more like we're here, like we want to understand like what you're going through, you know. So
Okay, Amange and Zingiso are in the building on this Sunday evening. A remix of the hit single called Skin Tight by Mr. Easy. He's featuring Haley on this one and Steph Landau. Absolutely love me some Steph Landau. She's got so much sauce on her, that girl. It's just got 90 minutes after the hour of 6 p.m. Central African time on Girls Gone Wild. Amange and Zingiso are in the building. So you talked about Yaya Day. What exactly is Yaya Day?
Yaya Day is, funny enough, it was founded by 2 other younger girls, and they approached us. It's basically a day where they go to an orphanage, and then they have different people in different careers. They bring them in, and we just have a talk with them, and it's literally like a speed dating setup.
Yeah.
They ask us questions. We came on a blackboard tip. We also their age, and we just related to them our stories. They asked us whatever they could ask us. We were open about it, and that was Yaya Day. We had other people were in fashion, other people in music, so that was the whole day.
Yeah, and we're so excited to be involved with them, because then it was going back to what I was saying earlier about unifying Africa. They were actually from the DRC, so it was like, okay, cool, we're also getting in touch with other African people who are doing really cool and really amazing things here, you know, stuff that we can start here, but it's gonna grow. So it was really exciting.
And how's the challenge or non-challenge of getting content from the rest of Africa?
I think now that we're quite small, but we're reaching other countries, and it's funny enough that we're reaching them. Not we're reaching other countries, but we're reaching other people, because like I'm in varsity, so I interact with other people. So I find someone's from the DRC or someone's from so they talk from that perspective. Funny enough, we had a story that this guy wanted to share, that he lost his passport, and he wasn't from here. He was also from Congo. So it's like,
it's a really hard story to hear. He was born here, but he didn't get his South African citizenship. Yeah, they didn't grant it to him. But like then his parents died, so he couldn't go back. Like, it was just a really hectic story. So he kind of just doesn't have a citizenship, or, you know, it was really hard to hear. And I think we're really humbled by the fact that somebody could come and share such a heavy story with us. The stories that we had been getting they've been powerful, and they've been speaking volumes to the kind of internal conflict that we've been facing, but we'd never heard a story that
was so personal.
Yes, it was really intimate, and it was something so close to him. So we were just like, oh my word, this is...
So I think the content that we're getting from other countries are actually people that are from other countries that are here in South Africa. But I mean, the bigger picture is to have exchange programs. So we go there where we actually visit and we actually learn their culture, where we learn other countries' cultures as well and get their actual stories.
Yeah.
But it is quite difficult getting other stories.
Yeah.
Understood, completely understood. And talking about the content, how do you decide on the final bit of content that's going to go onto your website?
I think the one thing that we try not to do is edit or cut or, just mess around with people's stories, because that's exactly what it is. There's a piece of somebody that they're opening out there. They're saying, here, they're like, here, this is my story, this is my experience that I'm granting to you guys. So what we've done is try to not mess with that at all. Like, we just want to present their story as it is. I think that's one of the most amazing things about it, is that it's so authentic, because it's coming from the people, and that's why we started this platform. So we don't have some other, monopoly who's gonna cut their story where they wanted to show what they wanted to show.
Send their stories on blackboard.africa@gmail.com, or they inbox us on Instagram. That's where I got that story, from an inbox on Instagram, or on Facebook or Twitter, and those are other platforms as well.
And social media, as the youth of Africa, is a huge thing.
It's a huge thing. It connects us. That's where you see other places, you see other countries, what they're doing, what they're listening to.
Yeah. I think that's also why we've taken the approach that we have. A lot of our content is very creative in terms of the fact that it's really like, it's video, it's photographs, it's also writings and that kind of stuff. But it's very tangible for the generation right now, the one that's really immediate and it's moving and it's ever changing.
Online.
Yeah, so we cater to that and we speak to them.
So no one actually really has an excuse to say no, but I didn't know.
No,
they really
always
don't.
posting with that annoying platform every second.
Yeah.
We're there.
And I was saying on off air that for two young, beautiful women,
thank you.
Where did you get the time to get all of this done? Because Zingisa, you are a film student, and Amange, you are still in high school.
Yeah.
Where'd you get all the time?
You make the time, man. You prioritize for the things that you want to do.
And I think one person once said to us that you must make time, you must be very deliberate about your time. So you mustn't spend your time on other things that won't grow you or other things that matter, but you must be very deliberate. Know that, okay, you're spending your time on this because it's going to grow you, or if you're chilling with this person, you know that this person's going to grow you as well, and you guys are going to have conversation that has substance instead of just chilling, being on the internet.
Yeah, there's always time. I think we prioritize for the things that we want. I'll give you an example now. I finished writing exams last week, and then we had an event on the Saturday, and people were like, you're crazy, because that's a lot to do straight after exams. But what would I have been doing with that time? I would have been at home, I would have been going out, I would have been doing things that, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those things. They're really relaxing, and they kind of needed sometimes. But I've decided to use that time for something else, and it's growing.
Saturday was great. Our friends came. We spent time with our friends, but it was deliberate.
Yeah.
You came through. It's all nice, but it's like we're building something. There's content to what we're doing. It's not like it's boring.
No, understood. Completely understood. And the support, like you're saying, you got your friends came through. How is the support from your inner circles?
I think, we actually spoke about this yesterday, and about how you'll be surprised how a lot of the support actually has come from different sources. We've gotten a lot of support internally, but it's been from people who've picked up on this and have been like, I've been waiting for this. And sometimes the people in our immediate circles, I know for me, sometimes the people in my immediate circle didn't pick up on it, and they didn't find that there was something that resonated with them, and that's okay too.
And that's
the people
the thing
who
about
needed to be
Blackboard,
there and wanted to be there were there.
That's the thing about Blackboard, is connecting like-minded people. So if you feel like your group of friends aren't really, that you have another safe safe haven, where you can go to and you have like-minded people where you're going to talk about the same things, same music, about Africa and growing as a continent and who you are and being black and being African. So that was the whole point, that we're not all about the same thing, that there are actually different people who are into culture, who read, or who are just different, and it's okay to be different. And if you feel like you're different, come to Blackboard.
Hey. There you go. Come to Blackboard if you feel that you're different. The culture of reading in our youth is actually like, I know the older I get, the more I read. And the less I watch TV, or I'm very specific about the things that I'm watching.
Yeah.
So how has the culture of reading, I don't know, have you seen it improve because of Blackboard? From what you've been able to see?
Yeah, I guess the people that have come have been people who do read, or people who have decided to read or deliberately started reading because they want to get involved.
People again.
Again, with our events, with our book club, we try not to make it solely about the book. So when you come to the event or the discussion about the book, we choose like a theme from the book, and obviously we present examples and that kind of stuff. But when you come to the event, you don't have to have read every single word of the book, and then next time you're going to want to read the book, because it's like, okay, well, now I want to know what they were talking about. I want to know the examples, and people have just been getting really involved. So it's been a really cool thing about it.
And I think it's because it's like a lifestyle now. If you see that we're posting a book, you're like, oh, I don't want to be left behind now. I'm going to read this book because I want to see what they're talking about. And because they love our conversations, they'll come because they want to see what's interesting. What are they talking about now? So
you're creating, a new age of reading because of Blackboard.
It's like a mind shift movement.
Yes, mind shift. Basically. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it, actually. It's a mind shift. So it's just gone 29 minutes after the hour of 6 p.m. Central African time on TransAfricaRadio. Blackboard Africa is the name of the website. The ladies behind it, very beautiful. Yeah.
You're also beautiful.
Amange, who's all of 16 years old, and she's doing a whole lot with her life. And Lisa, who's 22 and is a film student. I want to find out, when you come back, what is it that you want to do in the future? 16, there's a lot to do. And with your film, where you want to take it from here. So coming back in just a few, we're traveling to the country of Zambia. He goes with the name of Roberto, featuring Pato Ranking on this one.
Every day is
Amange.
Yes.
You're in high school.
Yes.
Where is it that you see your life going? Like, where from here?
I see myself in the theatre space here. I think there's something really magical about the way stories are told in theatre. It's so pure and it's so raw. And I want to tell African stories in the theatre. That's what I want to do.
That's what you want to do. And then your cousin here's going to be filming you. Why did you decide to take film, Zingiso?
I just wanted to create stories. I wanted to tell stories, but I also want to create them and make them come true into reality. Yes, basically. And all of those elements. Sometimes I write and I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm like, when someone takes my script, I'm like, I wouldn't do it like that. See, I would do it like this. And then if I'm in the director's seat, I'm like, see, I want to shoot it from this angle. Maybe I'll shoot it from that angle. So that's, I think, where it came from, because I wanted to create something out of nothing and tell a story.
So in the world of film, who have you seen so far that you're just like, wow, this is a person that I look up to,
Actually, I haven't told her this, and I never do, but my aunt.
Hey!
I don't tell her often, but I have another aunt, Wusi. She's a writer and a director, and I think the way she tells African stories is amazing. The way she writes them, it captivates you. It's like, this is like really who we are. This is what we say. This is how we act, and it's just really, really fresh breath of air, basically.
Yeah. So you're going to be that next fresh breath of air.
Yes, for my generation.
What is it about theatre besides, like you say, it's raw, it's captivating?
Yeah.
What else about theatre draws you to it?
I think there's just so much you can do, so much you can play. And another thing that I love is that no one performance is the exact same as another. So, I mean, with film, for example, like you can cut and you can edit it and you can make it look however you want it to look. But the performance that night, like there's nothing you can do about it. Like you have to just become the character and be the story. You have to tell the story, you have to encapsulate it, and that's how the audience engages with it. I think it's just the most beautiful thing, and just it's amazing.
Yeah. And owning tomorrow today, what exactly does that mean to you two? Like, what does owning tomorrow today mean?
It means doing what you want today, not tomorrow. Just start and don't be unapologetic about what you are, who you are, and what your destiny is and who you are. And don't overthink it. Don't be like, okay, cool, maybe tomorrow, maybe, but now. Yes, and own it. When you do it, don't be like, okay. No, fully own it and be proud of it, because it's going to make you who you are and what it's going to make you stand out. Believe it or not.
Yeah, I think it's also just about being practical about where you are, where you want to be, and how exactly you're going to get there, and not an iffy kind of, I want to be kind of in this space. It's more of a just zone in on where you want to be and recognize where you are, because that's how you can put steps in place to get to where you want to be, and doing that now, not waiting for tomorrow or after varsity or after I get my first job or after, like just stop postponing, your passions, your ambitions, all the things that you want to do. Just do it.
Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Be like Nike. Just do it. And Blackboard, it's been up for a year or so running.
Yeah.
What is your main objective about Blackboard, and where do you see it going? Where do you see it, let's say, in the next 5 years?
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. We're just going to be, there's going to be a Blackboard Tanzania, there's going to be a Blackboard Angola. We're going to have these conversations all over the continent. People are going to be talking, we're going to be doing exchanges, we're going to be doing history talks, it's just going to be huge.
We want to do history tours as well.
Yeah.
We're going to do
it's going to be multimedia platform. It already is kind of a multimedia platform.
No,
but
I see that.
It's going to be everywhere. We're going to be the Vogue Africa. Well, not Vogue, but we're going to be that voice, that major voice that everyone's like, yo, Blackboard. How do you say it? What's this thing called? Black Girls Rock of Africa, basically. Yeah.
So Black Girl Magic.
Yes.
Okay. It's basically what she's saying.
Yeah, we want to have tours. We want to make our book club more bigger. We want to have exchange programs where we learn from. We have other students from other countries.
We must take over the spaces. Radio, we must have our own show. Our own slot.
Yes.
But not just us, though. It's not just about us. It's about all the people that are contributing, all the people that have stories to tell, and everyone has a story to tell. So getting everybody involved in these platforms and making sure that it's not just us representing them, because then it's going to become an us and them situation. It's going to be everybody representing themselves to the point where there's no lack of representation. Everyone can look into a magazine or on a website or on an Instagram or on any platform and see themselves to an extent.
Campaigns, Blackboard campaigns, everything.
Your book clubs. Where how often do they happen? When do they happen? Where?
Well, it depends on the length of the book. We only launched our book club this year, and we did our first one, and that was at Con Hill, because Victor Dlamini opened up his studio to us, and that's where we did it. But it really depends on the length of the book. So it depends on that. Our new book that we've announced is Untitled, and it's a bit of a longer book, so we've given it 2 months, and then we're going to have the talk. So it really depends on the book.
And we recently found a home. The Market Theatre has...
Thank you, Market Theatre.
Thank you. They've opened up the space to us. So that's our new space. That's where most of our things are going to take place. Yeah. It was probably the book club as well.
So how does it feel to know that a place like the Market Theatre or brands are actually coming behind you, supporting you?
It was so amazing, literally so amazing. We sat down and we had a meeting with James Ncube, who's the artistic director at the Market Theatre, and we basically told him what Blackboard's about. And he introduced us to Ishmael, who's the CEO, and we presented to them and to a few other people, executive members of the company, and they were just really happy, and they just wanted to get more young people into the space. I think that's what they felt like they've been lacking, young people getting involved in the market, and not just to watch but to engage in the writing and behind the scenes, and getting them involved in all the nitty-gritty stuff that goes into making the Market Theatre the Market Theatre.
It's really cool, but also to step back and see that we're getting partnerships that are in line with what we're pushing as well, that believe in our vision as well, where it's not difficult, where they're like, change this, change that, but it's like we're speaking the same language.
So they're accepting you for who you are.
For who we are, and it's like it feels so natural to be at the Market Theatre, because they're all about culture, they're all about art,
all about Africa,
and that's what we are as well. So it's amazing.
What's the one thing that you ladies have learned, through your journey with Blackboard, that you say, wow, but that's a lesson that I'm going to keep, until I'm going to put it into each and every aspect of my life. It's going to be with me. What has Blackboard taught you?
Specifically, I would think it would be to just do you. I think this even came up, it did come up yesterday. We had this conversation at the Market Theatre, and it was about taking ownership of your future today. And somebody said, when you're in a collaborative space and you're thinking about sharing ideas and that kind of stuff, to what extent do you share? Because you're kind of scared that somebody's going to steal your stuff or whatever. When do you know how to stop? And I think for me, it's like, when you do share, what I've learned is that when you do share with someone and they decide to steal it, they've only stolen this tiny part of what you want to do. The vision, the bigger picture is all in your head, and the part that you've managed to share is only a fraction of what you think, what's possible, what's going to happen. So stop being involved with that, what other people are doing. Just do what you want to do and make it happen, and focus on yourself and just keep it moving.
And I think for me, it's been be true to who you are. Be you. If you're that, then you're going to attract the same vibe you put out there. If you're black and you're proud of being black, if you're proud of being African, then you're going to attract other people who are also proud of being African as well. And it's just going to save you from a lot of things, and it's just going to cut unnecessary other distractions. And it's what you put out to the universe is what you get. Yes, exactly. So if you don't have to pretend. It's a lot of work pretending. Yeah. So if you're just yourself, then it's okay. And when you're yourself, that's when you actually stand out, and that's what. It's so weird when you just like, listen, I'm African and I'm proud. Then things just move, even though you don't think that they're moving, but people are gravitating to you because you are actually different. And if you don't like weaves or whatever, it's okay. You can say that, I like afros or natural hair. It's okay. You're actually going to stand out even more. Yeah, so that's what I've learned.
Be authentically you.
And don't be unapologetically ashamed of it.
Okay, so when we come back, we're going to talk about, here at TransAfrica, I have $1 million question for you. So basically, what you do in terms of celebrating culture and history and things like that, we kind of do that on the musical's perspective. So it's $1 million question that I'd love to ask, that I need to ask you guys. That is very crucial in this interview. And we're also going to find out a little bit more about your talks. Well, we talked about your talks, your tours, and what your tours are aimed to, what you're aiming for with your tours. And also it was in my head, now it's disappeared.
It's fine.
It was on my hair, but it didn't disappear. But we're coming back. Yeah, this is Eddie Kenzo representing the East African country Simbele N on TransAfricaRadio.net. The ladies behind Blackboard Africa are here. They go by the name of Amange Sinxoto, and we also have Zingiso Socikwa. Yes, in the building.
First of all, it's kind of not there. Problem number one. And then second thing is that it's not representing the everyday Joe, and that's the majority of us. And I'm not saying, everyday Joe, meaning that, we're average or mediocre. I mean the magic that lies within the people who are normal, I guess, or normal to an extent. Yeah. The real person, the real African, the real South African, they're just not shown. When we are shown, we're either too light or we're too skinny or we're too, it just doesn't show the person who's not any of those things and makes up, the majority. Yeah.
So there's basically a standard representation of what Africa is about.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot as you put it out there.
Yeah, and I also feel like in other countries they own their Africanism. And here in South Africa, we don't really do that. So if you see Nigerians, they rock their traditional wear.
Every day, all day.
Yeah, they make movies, Nollywood, strictly. So they do it, but we don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And most of our data or our
media
content or whatever, you find that it's lying overseas or somewhere else, or people are stealing our ideas, but it's because we're not owning it. So that's sad.
So we need to own it more.
Own it more and love ourselves more.
And your tours that you keep talking about, does each tour have a theme? Does it have a topic per se?
Yeah, each talk does have a different topic. So we've done a range of things. Our very first one is about rewriting the African narrative and kind of talking about the whole representation in media thing, and us being the ones to write who we are, what we look like, and even how we're advertised to. It's just so wrong, It's like you're always shown dancing or singing or washing, It's just it's not how we live. It's not how we live our lives as Africans in general. So we've done that, and then our next one was things I wish my mother had told me. And then the next one we did was an artistic night, and that was about growing an appreciation for African art. So we had poetry and singers. It was a really beautiful night. And then as well, we talked about things I wish my mother had told me about love. We did that in February with Bloom, and it was really cool because we also got to have those real talks that you kind of felt weird to talk to your mother about, or your older person in your life. What else?
Book club.
Yeah, and then we talked.
Coconut.
Yeah, we read Coconut, and we talked about identity. So that was a really cool one because there's a lot of identity issues that we're going through that need to be unpacked. So
And how often do they happen?
Every other 2 months. But our next one is on the 11th of August.
11th of August.
Yes.
And that's going to be an exhibition, and then after that we're going to watch a play.
Market that.
Yes.
The home of
it's going to be a really cool one because the whole exhibition was based around these boys, and they're basically talking about women. They're talking about the whole men are trash thing, but it's mostly about women, about how women should be treated, and growing that sense of love for women.
And we found that there isn't a platform for young black African men to speak about on certain issues. And so that's what we're about, trying to create those platforms where you can freely come and talk about stuff like this with other like-minded people as well.
And doing it in line with the Market Theatre. The play that we're going to see is called Inner Shoes, and it's these two men. It's a dance piece, but it's about women. So it really works in line. That's why we just love being at the Market Theatre. Everything just seems to work out. It's really dope.
So Blackboard and you ladies, are all about representing African culture and excellence and all of that, right?
Yes.
So here at TransAfrica, we play 100% African music.
I think it's just amazing because I think that was our thing. There was nothing talking about it. There was nothing actually giving us the things that we want, the Africa that we live in, So yeah, I'm absolutely so excited to be here. So thank you guys for having us. We're super, super honored, and what you guys are doing with doing 100% African music, that's what it needs to be,
Sorry. And it also shows that we have content as well, that we can purely play African music and people are actually listening to it. It means that there are people listening to African music. There are people who just want
there's a market for it.
Yeah, there's a market, there's content, do it.
Yeah. It's that easy. Any final words before we get into how we can find you on the World Wide Web? What is it that you'd like to say, Amange?
What do I want to say? I don't know. What can I say? Zingiso, can you start?
Own who you are. Own your blackness, own being African. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Be you all the time. And just own it. And you can come to Blackboard and we will
encourage you.
Yes.
And help you
grow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, ladies. And how can we find you on the World Wide Web?
Okay, so we have our website, which is www.blackboardafrica.com. Our Facebook, which is Blackboard Africa. Our Twitter, which is Blackboard spelled BLAK, so Blackboard_Africa. And our Instagram, which is at Blackboard Africa. Blackboard_Africa, sorry.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having us.
I have to say, this is a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you.
It's only gonna get bigger because you can't shut down anyone. And from what you're doing, there's a lot that is coming and a whole lot more to be excited about to come as well.
Thank you for having us.
So make sure that you do support them because it's absolutely beautiful as to what they are doing with their futures and of course Africa's future as well.
This is TransAfrica Radio.